Hi, this is Kevin from F1VisaInterview.com and Speak English Today. We're making you a video on Trump's immigration plan. And feeling the need to write this because our business is F1 students and students that study abroad, and been up all night with people calling from the Middle East and students worried, students here in Southeast Asia wondering what to do, people thinking that they're going to be the next country. So we can follow along a little bit with the video, but you can also read it all at the blog and get email updates. People are protesting at airports. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, just got a court stay against his ban. The mayors of cities across America have said they're not going to do this. They're sanctuary cities that protect people from all countries. The Microsoft, Apple, Twitter, all of the CEOs have come out with statements. Everybody in the world is appalled at what's happening. Especially the sympathy goes out to Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. And there's other countries involved also. Things are crazy now. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But there are some things that we can do and that we do know. Trump's policies are trying to turn back globalization. Globalization cannot be turned back, nor do we want to turn it back. It's like seeing a smartphone and somebody telling you, okay, smartphones don't exist. You can't get the memory out. You've already seen it. You already know it. So everybody agrees that we should bring jobs back to America, but now the factories are full of robots and people in hygienic suits working in masses. This is the American factories those jobs want. People aren't going to bring those back. Those jobs will never come back. Those people who voted for Trump are going to be hurt the most. Back to our students. Over 1 million students study in America at over 9,000 schools, and the demand is high. It's big business. The schools rely on these students. The communities that they live in rely on them. Now, $36 billion a year is spent by international students in those communities. That's really huge. The businesses, the schools are dependent upon it. Some schools, 30% of the students are international students. My high school students all go to private schools where the vast majority are international students. The ACLU, university lobbyists, local police, mayors of cities, and tens of millions of people are just appalled and disgusted that this is happening. And as an American, I want to say I'm sorry, but this is not how Americans think. So if you're a student, what should you do? One, if you're from those countries, don't apply now, because that's the face that's going to greet you when you come here. However, it won't be long, I don't believe, until things change. You can't have everybody in your country, everybody in the world hate you, and you can't hate everybody and still work out solutions. So we have to see how this plays out. The 7 countries that are banned. Unfortunately, the people who are stuck in transit, hopefully somebody will help them. And we have to be a little patient because the United States is better than this. When we talk about making America great again, America is great because of people. Now, at the airports, the customs agent, immigration agents, they don't know what to do. This isn't organized very well. One thing for sure, if you're in the United States now and you're a student or on a green card, don't leave. All of the universities are suggesting this. Universities are deciding exactly what to do. Michigan State has put out a bulletin saying that they're not going to cooperate with this federal mandate. They're by law have to cooperate with immigration officials, but this is a federal order. It's probably unconstitutional, and there's going to be many more court cases like the one that was won today. It's a big mess, and it's causing many problems, but I think that the American courts, the American people, will do the right thing. The F1 visa students are a great asset to America. America's education has always been its pride and joy. In Southeast Asia, everybody dreams of studying in America, and it makes me proud. And I hope that continues. The schools are great. I went to college in America. My university was really fantastic, and the experience there is something that I hope that all of my students can achieve. Now, China has the most F1 students, the China factor. I want to talk to you about why all of this craziness might actually help a lot of F1 students. China has been playing nice with America, and they could easily tell their students, don't go to America. This would really hurt the economy and open up hundreds of thousands of F1 visa positions. So, but the worry is that which country will Donald Trump tweet that he hates tonight at 4 in the morning? China could react much stronger than is good for America. Donald Trump thinks he'll just tell China what to do, but I don't feel like that's the case. Trade wars, President Trump's current debt to the Chinese banks, South China Sea, China's cheap loans to America because of all the dollars they have that they can't put anywhere else, the world's reliance on Chinese goods and products. All of these can lead to a very, very negative situation for America. And China has been playing nice with America for the most part. China and America have a very complex, dependent relationship. It's not going to be unwound by one guy saying bad things, but it could be severely damaged. So Trump supporters, if we raise the taxes on China, they can pay more at Walmart, and they can wait for their jobs that aren't coming back while they pay more on their Chinese goods they buy. The H-1B visa. This is going to affect India quite a bit. There's 250, 300,000 H-1B workers, and each year 30% of them enter a lottery and can become citizens. The H-1B workers, many feel, are part of the tech company and outsourcing companies working together to get cheaper labor and to get good jobs for Indian workers. And the lottery is fraught with problems. But this is how Donald looks at H-1B visas, and not many people will support them. Now, OPT and CPT, these are great programs. These are very valuable for American students. They could see how Americans work. They could, even though it might not translate back to their culture, they'll take back valuable tools for planning and organization and other things that will surely make them successful. It's also a really great way for these students to enter the workplace in America. Now, are they taking jobs from Americans? I'm not sure about that. Are they good at what they do and filling a position in the American economy? I'm sure about that. So with all this bad news, what's the story for international students? Some countries are going to have a big problem, but other countries, let's say Vietnam and some of the other countries, what if there's all these thousands and tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of extra F1 visa student positions that aren't being filled, and the universities and the high schools and colleges and community colleges, graduate schools, they're all screaming for students. Everybody I know is ramping up their recruiting of foreign students and entering more countries like South Korea, Vietnam, Nepal. So there may be more positions open, and it may be easier to get a scholarship or a reduced rate, or I'm not sure, nobody knows. But with supply and demand, if there's more positions, then certainly F1 students will not be hurt by this. Demand for studying abroad is very high, and the United States has had a monopoly on it for a long time. And I hate to say it, but in the last 10 years, there have been schools forming all over the world that have 4-year degrees and graduate degrees. And the competition is getting really tough. These schools are getting good, and they're also more economical. Now, the big schools in America, I don't know, it's going to take a long time for people to compete with them on a level of education. But the education at these schools throughout the world is good. The degrees are recognized, and they can save money. So the American education is also really worried about this at a time when their president is offending all of their customers. This seems to be the way it's going, where offending people is part of the way they do business. It reminds me of old timers talking 50 years ago with no solution, just a lot of grumping and complaining. So keep up your hope of going to the States, keep following your dream, and look at schools more carefully. I've got a lot of experience in videos and courses on what's important for the F1 visa interview, and I believe that choosing the school is going to be really important, and that choosing schools in sanctuary cities, choosing schools that fit your major, having a study program on your F1 form that matches the goals that you say in your interview. These are all things that you could get information about later. I'll give you a link, but you know what your major is, the reputation of the school, the program, what kind of student you are, what you want to do, the location, the cost, the degree, the professors, your relationship with them. There's so many factors, and I'd say 80 or 90% of my students say a service picked the school, or I have an uncle that lives in Houston, so I'm going to Houston County Community College, and they have no idea what they're going to study. And I think that this is going to be very important for students to figure out in order to get visas. So the sanctuary cities are likely to also benefit from these international cities, and the mayors and the people there are going to lead the fight. Generally, these are more modern cities, the people are more educated, and they're, don't be limited to these big cities. These are the big ones, and it's the best colorful graphic that I could find. There are sanctuary cities throughout America, hundreds and hundreds of them with thousands of schools. But when you do apply, try to make sure that it is in a sanctuary city. So will Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric discourage foreign students? I'll be sending out emails in the future to talk about this and other things. I'll give you a link in a little bit. International anger over Trump's order banning refugees. Iran already is saying it's going to limit issuing U.S. visas. The results of this can be huge. People are protesting at airports. This afternoon, there's supposed to be protests all over. And lastly, why this crackdown on visas could help you. So please click this link if you want updates to the visa issues. You can also ask for some help, take our courses, or get a lot of free information. But this is an important issue, and keeping up to date is going to be essential.